What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Macho Movie Madness.
Oh, yeah.
I am Brandon, and this is Andrew, and today is episode 28, Warehouse B, and it's Near Dark. Alright, what is up, everybody? Today on Warehouse B, we are talking Near Dark, a 1987 neo-western horror starring Bill Paxton, Lance Henriksen, and a host of other people. Jenny Wright, Jeanette Goldstein, a lot of Terminator, Alien alumni here. Very good movie, by the way.
Yeah, really enjoyed this one. I'd seen part of it, I think, before we watched this today. We sat down, got a pizza, watched a really good movie. It was very surprising.
Yes, very, very surprising. This is the first time I had seen it ever. And Andrew, I think he said he'd watched it maybe 15 years ago or more or so.
Yeah.
But, guys, we do a lot of B movies on this channel, as you probably know. Hence the show, Warehouse B. Every now and then we treat ourselves to a B movie that is actually legitimately good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just straight across the board. When, we had Leviathan not that long ago, that was a solid movie. And we like to do some of the really goofy ones too, like Samurai Cop. This, I believe, in the bottom of my heart, just having watched this just an hour ago, is one of the most underrated movies I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
This should have got way more love than it did.
Yeah. I think a lot of that can be attested to the De Laurentiis group going under. It sounds like they went bankrupt like right around the time that this movie was getting ready to be released, and so there was no promotional stuff out there for it.
Right.
Which is a shame.
Oh, my God.
You're talking, this came out around the same time as Lost Boys, and they talk Lost Boys all the time. This, to me, is right there with it. And that might be a good versus one day.
Yeah, we might have to do that versus. That'll be interesting to see. Because I love Lost Boys. And this is, they don't mention vampires in this movie. No. They talk about being bitten and turning, but they don't. And of course, they're affected by the sun. Bullets don't hurt them. They're strong. They drink blood. Yeah. You don't ever see vampire teeth. You don't see nobody turning into creatures, and there's nothing really super mystical about it.
Yeah, they have their own mythology going through this.
They kind of have their own mythology, but it's a very simple one. And like we mentioned, the neo-western style, which I really love. Yeah. A cowboy vampire movie, basically, is what this is. And this, one guy is basically a cowboy, but this is really good. I guess we can run down the plot real quick. It's a very simple, basic plot. The guy, this cowboy, this young kid, Caleb, I say kid, he's a little older, but he lives with his dad, who is
Tim Thomerson.
Tim Thomerson, yeah.
Damn it, McNulty.
Him of Trancers fame. And then his little sister, and his dad's obviously like a vet or works on horses and stuff on their cow. He at least knows that shit. Caleb is out with the boys one night, just hanging out, and he sees this beautiful young girl eating an ice cream and goes and hits on her and decides he's going to take her home. She wants to get home before the sun comes up. She doesn't tell him why. He said, and he plays a little game with her. I'll take you home if you give me a kiss.
Yeah, it's the last time he's in control in this entire movie.
That's the last time he is in control in this entire movie. Obviously, she seems a little bit off, but kind of cute though, so we let that slide, you know, like us guys, we just let the weird and crazy slide because we're stupid, and they're crazy. But anyway, she ends up biting him during the little makeout session. She gives him a little nibble, draws blood, and then kind of goes from there.
Yeah, he gets into their wacky vampire family, and they end up, going to this bar, taking out. Do we want to talk about that bar scene?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That was the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie all around, but best scene for sure. Wild.
Yeah, you've basically got Jeanette Goldstein, she's Diamondback in this thing. Lance Henriksen is Jesse, who his character dates all the way back to the Civil War.
Yeah, he's a Confederate soldier.
Yeah, you've got Homer, the little guy, played by the goofiest looking guy that we agreed we'd never seen.
John Joshua Miller or Josh John Miller, something like that.
He was the young kid, the hacker in Death Warrant. He'd been in a few other things.
Yeah.
And then you've got Severin, played by the late great Bill Paxton.
Yes, who's the best character in this movie?
Yes,
hands down.
Yeah, hands down. He's chomping up every scene in this bar scene. I mean, he takes control of that entire scene. I love it.
Oh, for sure.
Just over the top. Takes out the dude from Terminator 2 that Arnold gets his clothes from.
Yes,
in that scene. The spurs across the throat. That's iconic. Finger licking good.
It's finger licking good. Yeah, yeah.
I had a lot of fun. That's one of the main reasons. That's the main scene everybody knows from this movie.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other things that happen.
Well, and there's not a lot. There's violence, but there's not a lot of gore and violence in that, in that vein. You know what you would see out of a vampire movie,
except for that scene.
There's not. It's not real gory even then, but that's where they really used that the blood and the fear and some of that violence. But the rest of it is just really just kind of shot off screen. Yeah. When they talk about Caleb and what's her name? May. They talk about, he needs to feed, he needs to eat, and he needs to learn to kill, or he's going to die. And they don't want that. Well, and meanwhile, everybody's out, pulling their thing, doing their thing. Bill Paxton's he's all dressed up, and it's the cleanest he ever looks in this entire movie. He looks like a cowboy. He picks up 2 women, doesn't show them getting killed. Jesse and the other one, Diamondback, gets stopped by some hijackers. Doesn't show that.
No.
So there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot that they cut out of this. And then, like I said, that bar scene, when that bar scene hits and it gets kind of violent and creepy.
And we were laughing. Brandon sings, you have to check him out on Smule and stuff. Brandon sings a lot of George Strait.
Yeah.
And so there's a scene after they've decimated everybody in this bar except for this young cowboy.
Yeah, it's the last guy.
Yeah. This is where the cowboy rides away.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, this is a perfect song for this scene. Playing George Strait right after they murdered everybody.
We both just lost it.
Oh, yeah, it's great. That was hands down my favorite scene. Yeah, big George Strait fan.
Yeah.
But, this, guys, you have to check this movie out. This is amazing. So, you want to talk about atmosphere?
Yeah, I thought the atmosphere was great. The cinematographer on this was Adam Greenberg. He's been on a lot of stuff, but most notably for me, The Terminator.
Yeah. And
so a lot of those night scenes where the streets are wet and you got backlit blue. Yes. I felt right at home watching this movie.
There was a lot, there's that smoke, like that dry ice smoke kind of, that would trickle in through doorways and as they open them or entryways. And then those backlit shots of all of them of the night and the cityscape was behind them. And you just see the silhouettes of them
in the smoke.
Yeah, and then there's that one shot at the end with Caleb when he was on his horse because they slashed the tires.
Yeah.
So he goes after his sister on the horse, and they do that same shot with him and the cowboy hat on the horse. Really cool. I'm like, man, this is a Western horror. It's great.
Yeah. And speaking of atmosphere and the George Strait part, the music was great. Tangerine Dream.
Yeah.
Did the music for this. For the most part, we thought it fit. But this was the year after Top Gun.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, so all the car chase scenes and the high speed car scenes or action scenes, they had this guitar riff that was very reminiscent of Danger Zone from Kenny Loggins. I'm like, this is all Kenny Loggins inspired music. But then everything else was very ambient and synthesizer oriented and
fit the scene perfectly.
So it fit that horror element, that time frame of the decade, but all and very Terminator-ish even.
Yeah.
So that you just feel right at home.
Yeah.
If for us, people like us, you feel right at home when you're watching this movie.
Yeah.
And it fits it fits the atmosphere, it fits the romance in the movie, it fits the horror in the movie. It fits everything, the mood just perfectly, I think.
Yeah.
Except for those car chase scenes. It just doesn't, and it's not even that I hate it. Like, it sounds great. Like,
it just doesn't
fun.
sound like the rest of the movie.
It just doesn't sound like the rest of the movie. So it's not even, I really can't even say it's a con.
Yeah.
Because it's good. It's just so funny because it's out of place. But again, there's other things in the movie that are out of place. Bill Paxton's character is like out of place and perfect at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of like the perfect killer vampire. He's got this big ego. Nothing can kill him. So he plays it to a T. Con-wise, it's a byproduct of the time, the fire there at the end,
Yeah, the kid on fire at the end, the fire effects, you could tell they kind of superimposed that and CGI.
But it wasn't bad for the time.
It wasn't bad for the time, but you could see it. I've seen way worse out of early 90s movies.
The only one I really laughed at was when May and the little girl Sarah bust out the window of that station wagon and roll out the back. You could tell that was a stunt woman.
Yeah.
The wig was really bad.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've got no real cons.
No, I don't think so either. That I mentioned right at the end there, like that freeze frame ending. I just don't like freeze frames on things. It just seems so goofy and so abrupt. But at the same time, and I mentioned this too right before that, this movie's lean.
Yeah.
When we watched it on Pluto TV, and it's on Tubi as well, you can check it out there. You're going to deal with ads. It felt a little longer because of that.
Yeah.
And Pluto TV's terrible about ads. Even worse than Tubi, I think. But it's an hour and a half. It's not that bad. It's, there's so much that happens even just that first hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So in between that and the ads, I'm like, man, this has got to be getting close to over with more. And I still got 20 minutes left. But it's those ads. But it is very lean.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff cut out, probably on purpose to keep the thing rolling.
Yeah. But I feel like it's still, the love story between him and May. You've got, him and his uncertainty with being a vampire. It's lean, but you still have enough to bite into and believe in.
Well, and that's what's so funny about it. It's so lean, and some shots just go like it'll cut, like for instance the end where Jesse and Diamondback are taken out and they go up in flames, and then it just automatically cuts to May on the table getting the blood transfusion, which by the way is a way to cure them, it turns out, I guess. In this, because Jesse gets cured by his dad and then he cures May at the end so they can a great little happy ending.
Yeah, something you wouldn't normally think about.
No, and so that was kind of a nice happy ending.
Yeah.
For him and May, because May was kind of the oddball out of the group anyway. But it cuts just directly to that, and then the freeze frame ending. So, in that instance, I didn't like that, but like you said, there's enough there that you can fill that void, fill those pieces together in your brain, and it doesn't affect you at all. Sometimes I want there to be those scenes to really wrap it up in a nice bow, even though I don't necessarily need it. You want explanation. You want that just because of the package.
Right.
I like to see that. It didn't hurt it at all.
No.
So I don't, other than like I said, I don't have any cons really. This is a good, solid movie. It's like a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
This has got to be one of the highest rated movies we've reviewed on Warehouse Beat.
I'd say it probably is. This is getting added into the rotation, especially during vampire marathons and stuff. Definitely worth checking out. If I were you guys, you'd have to see it if you haven't already. What would you rate this thing?
I'm torn between a 4 and a 4.5. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I really did. I mean, here's the thing. It's going to be interesting when we do this versus, because I really like Lost Boys. Yeah. But there's elements of this movie I like more than Lost
a whole
Boys.
Lot better than Lost
and
Boys.
You don't get any effects. Like, you don't get there's not vampire teeth. There's not vampire looks or faces or prosthetics.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. When you think about it. And I love that part. I love that about Lost Boys. But I don't know. Like,
I'm going to go ahead and go 4.5 out of 5.
I'd probably give it a 4.25, 4.5 myself.
Yeah.
This is a very solid B movie. Like, it's a very, I don't even know. I mean, I guess you have to call it a B movie.
Yeah.
but this is solid.
Yeah. I think, because, it's definitely a cult movie now. People know about it, but yeah, it's definitely solid, and it's a shame that it didn't get a bigger release. We might not be calling it a B movie,
right?
If that had been the case,
right? Exactly.
Let us know what you think of this movie down in the comments.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, what do we got coming up down the road here?
Next will be Warehouse B episode 29. We're talking Swamp Thing, Wes Craven movie. We just did The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah,
the original versus the remake from 2006, and so going to do a little Wes Craven. Adrian Barbeau in that movie.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, and that'll be a fun one to talk about. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so I guess we'll wrap it up, and we'll be on the lookout for the Lost Boys versus Near Dark because that's
definitely coming in the next few months.
We're gonna have to add that for the list for sure. That's gonna be a good one. So yeah, until next time, I guess check out Near Dark, and we'll catch you down the road.
We out of here.